I spoke to criminal defense attorney Tracey Lenox about what could realistically be achieved during this four-day summit.
Realistically, we can hope that the bishops recognize that there is an enormous problem, and they recognize that more than just listening and compassionately reaching out to victims, that won't be enough. That in fact, a more fundamental change has to take place in the way that the church deals with this extraordinary scandal they have going and the damage that it's done, not just to the church, but to the victims.
And when you talk to the survivors who've endured this horrific abuse, many of them at a young age, what kind of change do you believe would be enough or would be sufficient for them?
The approach that the American bishops have begun to take or had begun to take before this summit, which was that this must be addressed probably within the civil legal system, within the criminal justice systems, certainly of the United States. That, I think, is where the church has come to at this point. The victims probably are not going to be able to be satisfied with just the church dealing internally with the fallout from all of this, or with ongoing sexual assault. I think they have to be willing to let the light in and let the civil legal structures, take charge of these when there are verifiable claims of abuse.
And when there are verifiable claims of abuse and the crime happened years ago, in some cases decades ago, do these survivors have any legal recourse?
So so every state's laws are different, but for example, here in Virginia, there's not a statute of limitations on sexual assault, felony sexual assault at any rate. And as a result, even if an offense occurred 2 decades, 3 decades ago, there are still procedures within the criminal justice system in the state of Virginia that those survivors can get the justice that they need through the legal system.
The sexual abuse, the scandal in the Catholic Church was really considered, even talking about it was considered taboo for so many years. The fact the church at the highest levels is at least talking about it, does it in fact reflect a shift in attitudes?
I hope it does. My concern is that the only reason, at least apparently, the reason that it's being talked about is because, for example, an attorney general's office in Pennsylvania has forced them to talk about it. That's, I think, what has forced the church to do this, and that makes me concerned that the talk is not as it's not going to result in the kind of changes that are going to be meaningful and real and going to fix the problem.
The Vatican says the themes of the conference are responsibility, accountability, and transparency, but nowhere in there is the word justice.
That's a real problem for them with this. They want to say, look, we're paying attention now. We're listening to victims. We're hearing with their voices, and we're going to take concrete steps. But for the victims themselves, and for, as you know, I'm from the criminal legal system in the United States. That won't be enough. That isn't going to be anywhere near enough. The victims, in my dealings in the system, the defense side is seeing the pain and the loss that victims suffer and the long-term damage that it does. They're going to need more than that. They're going to need the sense that that there is justice for them and that they are getting more than just I hear you and I feel your pain. They're going to need more than that.